Yo, what's up, Rare Candy? It's your boy Zach Lesage, and we are back here on the Rare Candy YouTube channel. So today we're going to be going over a deck profile of the Inteleon VMAX card that is coming out in Rebel Clash. So we've already filmed a video of this deck battling against Rillaboom VMAX, so be sure to check that out in the description if you want to see exactly how this deck would do in a live action scenario. That being said, we're going to jump in and explain some of the cards that we got here today. So starting off, we got Inteleon V. So we're only using this card as the vessel to evolve into Inteleon VMAX, and this is all we have available. We don't have any different forms. Its first attack is doing 40, second attack is doing 130. Nothing entirely special about this. It's a fairly basic V Pokemon, not a Zacian V. Not any of these amazing GX Pokemon. It is what it is, and that's what we got going on for this. Looking into its evolved or VMAXed form, we have the Inteleon VMAX. This card gets a little bit more interesting, so it gains a lot of HP, so it's at 320 HP, so it's a chonky boy, 60 damage, and it can bounce one of your opponent's active Pokemon's energy back to their hands, and it does 160 and 60 snipe. So we got some kind of makings of a great card in here. The theme that I went for this deck is kind of a mid-range control deck. So there are cards in here that do disrupt our opponents. In order to set up a deck like this, I figured Jirachi would be a good choice. So we got 3 copies of that. Just so we could use Stellar Wish, grab whatever item card we need, whether it's a Crushing Hammer or whether we need a Team Yell Grunt. Figured Stellar Wish would be an amazing choice. We got a 2/2 line here of Snom and Frostmoth. And the reason why we went for this lineup is just so we could power up Inteleon VMAX's bigger attack in a pinch. So whether we need to power that up or not, that seems pretty good. No complaints there. Added in 1 copy of Articuno GX. So shout out to Eric Smith of Rare Candy for telling me this idea. I was like, hey Eric, I kind of want to build this Inteleon VMAX deck, and I have this idea of going with a mid-range control. And he's like, dude, you're playing a water deck, you should totally put an Articuno GX. And I'm like, yo, Cold Crush GX sounds really good. So if your opponent's active Pokemon is bumping with a lot of energies, Articuno GX seems like a really good choice. Beyond that, you can always use Ice Wing to do some minor damage and power that up quickly with a Frostmoth. This is only worth 2 prize cards in comparison to this being worth 3 prize cards. Got a copy of Dedenne GX, because which deck would not work with a copy of Dedenne GX? There's not very many at this point. Sometimes you just need to pitch your hand away and draw some cards. Eldegoss V, one of the newcomers again from Rebel Clash. We can use its ability to get back some of our supporter cards and use them immediately. And it can also use its attack to do 50 damage. It seems like it's going to be a staple in most decks. Not entirely sure how it's going to work out, but we'll see exactly how it ends up working out. I think it's okay in a deck like this, especially with Team Yellgrunt and other cards like that. I opted to go for Cynthia instead of playing Professor's Research, and the reason for that is just because this deck is not really wanting to discard its hand. There's a lot of moving pieces, so things like Crushing Hammer, things like Team Yellgrunt that you just don't want to see in your discard pile. Then there's 3 copies of Marnie here. Marnie, again, shuffling themed. It could be a Professor's Research, but again, I don't really want to be discarding my supporter cards or anything like that. So then I have 4 copies here of Quick Ball. This is just to really search out our Pokemon whenever we need to search out our Pokemon. Seems like a good option there. Few copies of Evolution Incense, because again, this could search out our Frostmoth and our Inteleon VMAX. One thing that I could do is maybe cut an Inteleon VMAX for an Evolution Incense, but again, I'm worried about prizing issues, so that's why I went for the 3/3 line. I know some of my friends have suggested Pokemon Communication because Evolution Incense can only grab 5 cards out of my Pokemon, but at the same time, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 Pokemon. I find that's typically on the low end for Pokemon Communication. I like to play a little bit more Pokemon than that. Not entirely sure again. Maybe Pokemon Communication would be a little bit of a better choice there. And we do have our copies here. We have 2 copies of Team Yellgrunt. Team Yellgrunt is to work with Inteleon VMAX's first attack, so you could lift up kind of 2 energies from your opponent's Pokemon. So again, against an ADP or something similar to that, that would be a really good way to slow your opponent down or put them to a complete halt if they don't have any energy acceleration in their deck. And we got 2 copies of Boss's Order to just kind of bring up whichever Pokemon we want. Maybe your opponent's Pokemon has an energy we want to bring back to their hand, or we could do the 160 plus 60 snipe. We got 2 copies of a Skateboard. These are mainly going to be prioritized towards Jirachi, although I could see it working with some of these other 1 retreat cost Pokemon. Couple copies of the new card Full Bucket. So the Full Bucket is allowing us to search out energy from our deck to attach to our Pokemon. Again, it's going to work out really nicely with Frostmoth. A lot of people have said that Frostmoth might gain a lot from the set because of Full Bucket. I mean, I'm not here to say that they're right or wrong, so that might end up being the case. We got 4 copies of Switch, and the copies of Switch here are going to work, again, nicely with Jirachi. Most lists want to be running copies of Switch because in the set we also had the Galar Mine release, and 4 copies of Crushing Hammers. So the Crushing Hammers are really going to help out with the Inteleon VMAX, again with the first attack, kind of that mid-range control. And we got 1 copy of Ordinary Rod. Again, we want to get back our energy so that we can power up with Frostmoth, or maybe we have to discard something with the Identity GX. Something like that seems okay. Copy of Great Catcher. I like bring up 1 copy of Great Catcher and 2 copies of Boss Orders right now. I think that's going to be the correct count for the most part, because as we can see, there are GX Pokemon looming in these VMAX decks. So you still can bring up a healthy amount of Pokemon per deck, and that could be the game-winning. You already played Cynthia to get the Great Catcher. Not all the time can you use your supporter for the turn to play a Boss's Orders. And then we have a decent bit of energies here just to make sure that would all work out. So 10 energies, 10 water, sorry, and then 2 weakness guard energy. Weakness guard is just to protect our Inteleon VMAX. It is weak to lightning. As you can see there, it's not weak to metal or anything like that. Again, metal would probably be something to worry about as well. Water is just not appropriately typed, I guess, in the metagame right now. So you always got to play something that avoids its weakness. And I think Weakness Guard is just something that we should play. I'm not necessarily saying that this deck would do amazing against a Pikarom, a Bolton V deck, but the Weakness Guard means that it's not going to be an auto loss, and we have an opportunity to try it out. And the water energies are, of course, going to work with Frostmoth and just powering up generally. So seems like an appropriate count, especially with Full Bucket. So this is what we got here. And again, we did play some games with this against a Rillaboom VMAX deck. So in the description, be sure to check that out. The link there, watch those games in action. Beyond that, if you had another idea with Inteleon VMAX, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear some feedback from you. We might have missed something, or maybe we uncovered a stone and you want to help us work on some of this content. Let us know in the comments below. That's it for this deck profile video. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel to keep up with our contents. You could go to patreon.com/rarecandytcg. Consider becoming a patron there and supporting our channel as much as possible. All the proceeds go right back into our channel. And we also have our rarecandytcg.com, a place where you can pick up some merch. As for me, I'm Zach Lesage. You can follow me on Twitter at ZLesage Pokemon. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great one.